Good morning. I'd like to call today's meeting for the State of Nevada Board of Examiners to order for February 9th, 2021. Could I ask the clerk to take the roll, please?
Governor Sisolak.
Here.
Secretary of State Sagaski.
Here.
Attorney General Ford.
Here.
Let the record reflect we do have a quorum.
Thank you. Item number 2, public comment. This is the first time set aside for public comment. Anyone wishing to address the board on any item on today's agenda, please identify yourself for the record. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes. We don't have anybody in Carson City. We don't have anybody in Las Vegas. Do we have anybody on the phone or written comments?
Yes.
Okay.
Do I go ahead? I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Patricia Adkisson. It's Adkisson. I'm calling from Las Vegas, and although not directly related to a current agenda item for today's meeting, my comments are submitted pursuant to the Nevada Attorney General Opinion 96-24 and the principles of law entrusted to the governor and enshrined in the Nevada Constitution, Article subsection 1, 6, 7, and 21, where the public's trust is implicated. I'm submitting to this Board of Examiners and to each member, namely the Governor, the Secretary of State, and the Attorney General, in their official capacity as Board of Prison Commissioners, an NRS 233B petition seeking the repeal of certain administrative regulations submitted by myself, Patricia Adkisson, for Michael Adkisson, where the Board of Prison Commissioners has not prescribed by regulation any form for a petition or procedure for their submission, consideration, and disposition. Please acknowledge receipt of the submission of the described petition at this meeting on the record. My repeated efforts to alert the named elected officials of the potential liabilities resulting from the issues described in the petition and in my previous submissions to both the Board of Examiners and the Board of Prison Commissioners, namely the officials described, no action has yet been taken. In fact, on January 25th, 2021, the Board of Prison Commissioners convened and took action not contemplated by the relevant statutory authority, where the NDOC is not entirely exempted from the Nevada Administrative Procedures Act, when taking action pursuant to Chapter 209, rendering the board's actions at this January 25th meeting void. I submitted a 233B petition back in October to the Board of Prison Commissioners that was never responded to. NDOC screens, filters, or otherwise prevents disclosure to the board. The board must be responsive to the petition within 30 days. When a violation of law is reported, our elected officials have a duty to act. As usual, I'm available to provide assistance or answer any questions. Thank you for your time. And can someone please acknowledge receipt of the submission of the described petition at this meeting on the record?
Thank you very much for your comments. Do we have any other public comment?
Does that mean no?
I'm sorry, we don't respond to public comment. It's not posted on the agenda, so we can't respond.
Okay, so you can't acknowledge?
I'm sorry, we can't respond. We don't have, it's not posted on the agenda as an item. Do we have any other public comment? No, hearing and seeing none. We'll move off of agenda item number 2. On to agenda item number 3, approval of the January 12, 2021 minutes. Do we have a motion on the floor? Pardon me?
Move for approval, sorry.
That's okay. We have a motion on the floor. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item number 4, authorization to contract with a current and/or former state employee.
Item number 4 includes one request to contract with former employee pursuant to NRS 333.705, subsection 1. This request is from the Department of Administration Purchasing Division to contract with a former employee to perform project management duties for the Department of Employment Training and Rehabilitation. This individual will be employed by Knowledge Services through MSA number 21167. Are there any questions?
Do we have any questions on item number 4? We have none. Do we have a motion?
Move for approval.
We have a motion for approval from Secretary Sagaski. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Anybody opposed? Motion passes. Item number 5, request for approval of payment from the statutory contingency account.
Item 5 includes one request for wrongful conviction from the statutory contingency account. The 2019 legislature approved Assembly Bill 267, which provides compensation and others property-related matters to certain persons who were wrongfully convicted. The legislation requires a court to enter certification of innocence and determine the proper amount of the award. A certificate of innocence and stipulation of relief were granted to Mr. Regional Mason by the amount of the award. A certification of innocence and stipulation, Mr. Regional Mason by the 8th Judicial Court pursuant to NRS 41.950. The amount of the award is $975,000 plus $15,000 for attorney fees. The current balance in the statutory contingency account is $2,669,000. If this item is approved, the remaining amount would be $1,679,000. Are there any questions on this item?
Do we have any questions on item number 5?
Governor, this is Barbara Sagatsky, Secretary of State.
Yes, please, go
And
ahead.
Thank you. While I realize there was a bill passed, my concern is what money we have left and what will be able to be used. There's an echo for some reason. Somebody doesn't have their phone muted? There. But I'm just concerned about where we get the additional money if there's more found. That's my concern.
There is a bill for session to replenish the account, so there should be plenty of money to cover any unexpected expenditures through year end.
And Aaron Ford here. Our recollection, likewise, is that we allocated funds earlier or late last year, or maybe sometime during last year, to ensure that we would have enough funds to take us through the replenishing of the account based on the number of cases that we had pending at the time and that we were contemplating. When this bill passed, that we knew the legislature had an idea of how many exonerees would come forward, and accordingly put that much money, make that much money available to us. And so I don't have a fear that we'll run out of money in time before the account.
Well, thank you very much, A.G. Ford. I appreciate that. My concern is if there's litigation and we don't have enough money in the accounts now, and we're not able to fill those, what happens?
Well, my understanding is that there is a bill there that there's not any opposition to, and it's the intent that that be replenished. If it's not, I guess we'd have to face that issue when we come to it. But there is enough money to do this one and have $1 million left. And hopefully it'll be replenished before we have another claim.
Okay, and we can't lose sight of the fact that this is taxpayer dollars, so that's what I'm concerned about, is just having enough money when we don't have it in the budget right now.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
If I may, Mr. Governor.
Yes, please, General Ford.
So I have on the line one of our senior DAGs, Heather Proctor, whose division oversees these prosecutions, and to the extent she's able, I don't know if she is or not, I made to put her on the spot, but if she knows how many cases are still pending and how much money is at stake, she can speak to the issue. But I also want to acknowledge this. You are correct, Secretary Sagatsky, this is taxpayer money, and this was also an issue of the state committing a wrong. And at the end of the day, the taxpayers will be on the hook for compensating a wrongly convicted individual. I think that's fair and just. I think the legislature passing that was in the right direction, and I think the governor signing it was entirely appropriate. And I look forward to compensating, albeit in a way that doesn't completely replenish this person's time gone, but at some level showing that this state recognizes that justice oftentimes has to manifest itself with an apology and an exoneration.
And I totally understand where you're coming from as well, A.G. Ford. And Governor Sisolak, your staff was wonderful in telling us that there are currently 4 cases in litigation or negotiations, and there are 8 potential ones that have not filed. So that's what I was looking at, the information that was given to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary, and I agree with both of you. The intent was that we do compensate these individuals. My staff has informed me that we have a few more pending or potentially pending, and hopefully we'll have the resources at that time to cover it. So as it relates to this one, item number 5, do we have a motion?
Yeah, I move approval. My apologies. I was on mute. Sorry.
Okay, we have a motion for approval. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing, seeing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any, any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 6, approval of proposed leases.
This item includes 2 leases for approval by the board today. Are there any questions on any of these items?
Do we have any questions on either of the leases?
None, Governor. This is Barbara Sagaski.
Do we have a motion on the leases?
Move for approval.
We have a motion for approval on item number 6. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 7, approval of proposed contracts.
There are 33 contracts in agenda item number 7 for approval by the board this morning. Are there any questions in any of these items?
Do we have any questions on any of the items, the contracts?
None.
Do we have a motion?
Move approval.
We have a motion for approval on item number 7. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing and seeing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 8, approval of proposed master service agreements. We have,
There are 3 master service agreements in agenda item 8 for approval by the board this morning. Are there any questions on these items?
do we have any questions on the master service agreements?
None, Governor.
None, sir.
Hearing and seeing none. Do we have a motion on item number 8?
Move approval.
We have a motion for approval. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 9, clerk of the board contracts. This is an information item only. I did have a question on item number 23. Do we have someone available to answer that question?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Mr. This is Aaron Winkleman with the Nevada Division of Environmental Protection. To answer your question,
Okay. How is a household mercury generated?
most of the time what we're seeing generally is through kind of cleaning out, kind of the grandma and grandpa's garage. And we see that people have shards of mercury left over from, way back when in the mining industry. We see people have basic thermometers, those types of things, what we see.
Okay, we have thermometers in Grandma and Grandpa's garage. Is this only in rural Nevada that we have thermometers in Grandma and Grandpa's garage, or is this all over the state?
It's generally the calls we receive are from all over the state. It just depends. We started with this particular contract in the rurals and then moving into the more urban areas.
Okay, that's a federally funded item, so.
That's correct. That's a multi-purpose grant that we have through Environmental Protection Agency that's funding this.
Okay, do we have any other questions on the information contracts? Seeing none, move on to item number 10, information item reports.
There are 2 informational reports under this item. The first is an informational report regarding lands or interests in lands transferred, sold, exchanged, or leased under the Tahoe Basin Act program, as well as a quarterly report on the status of real property or interests in real property transferred under the Lake Tahoe Mitigation Program, which is required pursuant to NRS 321.5954 and Chapter 355, Statutes of Nevada, 1993 respectively. This report is for quarter ending December 31st, 2020, there is no acquisitions of land this quarter. There were 2 transactions under the Lake Tahoe Mitigation Program, resulting in 2,598 square feet of restored land coverage and an increase of $48,845 for the Nevada Land Bank. The second item is an informational report on the available balances in the various contingency accounts managed by the Board of Examiners or in an interim finance committee as of January 21, 2021. The funds in these accounts are expected to be sufficient to cover projected expenditures through June 30th, 2021. These accounts are available to cover various contingencies through the 2019-2021 biennium. I would be happy to answer any questions you may have on these items.
Do we have any questions on these 2 information items?
None here.
No.
None here.
Okay, I'll take that as a no. Thank you very much. That's an information item. Moving on to item number 11. This is the second time set aside for public comment. Anyone wishing to address the board on any item, please step forward, identify yourself for the record, and comments to be limited to 3 minutes. We have no one in Carson, no one in Las Vegas. Do we have anyone on the phone? Okay, we have some written comments that will be entered into the agenda, into the record. Anyone else for public comment? Hearing and seeing none, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you. We have motion to adjourn. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Motion passes. We are adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Everybody.
Bye.